have this friend. They're going through a hard time and you want to help them, but you don't know how or where to start. When you see a need, step in with GiveSendGo. GiveSendGo is a safe, trusted, and reliable crowdfunding platform designed to help you help others. With a few clicks of a button, you can set up a campaign for the person you want to support. Come to GiveSendGo.com and set up your campaign. Then, share it with the people closest to you and watch the funds and prayers start flooding in. That's www.givesendgo.com.
Hello and welcome to the GiveSendGo Spotlight. Today, we're happy you're joining us, and we're here with Kellie, and I'm just meeting Kellie for the first time, so I'm going to have her introduce herself to all of us. So welcome, Kellie. Thank you for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi, and hello to everyone. My name is Kellie. I'm a missionary in Cambodia, and I've been living here for the last 15 years and have raised my two kids here. And we have adopted a Cambodian son who's one of our rescued kids. And he's 3 years old now, and my other two are 11 and 9.
Wow.
Yeah, we're a big family and it's lots of fun. And yeah, we've been here a long time.
Okay. My daughter actually did Youth with a Mission, YWAM. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yes.
And she went to Cambodia on her missions trip just a couple of years ago, right before COVID hit. She had gone to Cambodia. And so yeah, worked in some orphanages and things there. So that's really cool. So when did, I think I missed it. How long have you been in Cambodia, and what was that journey to actually even get to Cambodia?
Oh gosh. Yeah, we've been here for 15 years. So we came here in 2007, right before the new year. And really it all started from a dream, because I dreamed that, these children needed my help, and they were somewhere in Southeast Asia, and I knew just roughly from the dream it was like Thailand somewhere, and everyone knows Thailand, so it's like that instant go-to of like, oh, I think it's Thailand. And so I started Googling, and then I just started finding out all these crazy statistics about sex trafficking and child trafficking in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. I was like, what? And I sat and wept, and I was undone. And for me, it was just like, okay, I need to go and see if I can see this for myself, and if this is really real. Because to me, back then, all those years ago, it was not even heard of. No one talked about it, and people didn't want to hear about it. It wasn't believed. And so I got on a plane and went to Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, the Philippines, and I just went everywhere that I knew looked roughly like my dream, and was just like, okay, let's just see, Jesus, where you rest and what you're really putting your hand on. And I could not get Cambodia out of my mind. One, because of the things that I saw and encountered here, and two, it just seemed to be the place where doors were really opening from the beginning. And other places I tried to really connect and see if these doors would open up, and they weren't. And so I knew like Cambodia is the spot.
That's really cool how God does that, like he like gives you just enough information and says like, trust me, and you'll know when you get where you're supposed to go. And you're like, okay, I'll just start walking this out. He just calls for our obedience, even when we don't know the whole picture. And sometimes it's almost better to not know the whole picture, because it might scare us off sometimes when we know what we're walking into. So yeah, recently anti-trafficking or sex trafficking has been a big, hot topic people are talking about and things like that, but that it hasn't always been the case. And like you said, that it is a newer thing that we're starting to find out how real and widespread it is. It's almost hard to even fathom, especially living in, like the United States or some of these countries that are not more poverty stricken and stuff. And we know it happens in the United States. It's just, it's crazy. It's actually crazy when you start hearing some of these stories. So you're seeing that firsthand where you are?
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's been, when I first came here, I was just sitting in a cafe and I just saw one man walking by, and he had 5 little boys all about the same age, and just walking into a massage parlor, and 1 hour, an hour and a half later, they come out and there's an exchange of money, and they all just go their separate ways. And I was like, did that just happen? Did I actually just see what I've been reading about? And then another man and another man. And I realized, wow, this massage parlor is not a massage parlor, and it's a place for foreign men to bring young boys and exploit them. And it just when you see something like that, it just cuts to your core, and you can't unsee it and you can't undo it. You know something now in the world that is so horrific and not right, and that's when you feel that righteous anger rise up inside you for the justice of God to come, and for God to be in that place. And I just said, okay, God, just use me. Whatever way you can use me, just use me.
Wow. So how are your kids liking, like, do they like Cambodia? At this point, they probably, were they born there, actually? Because you've been there 15 years.
I had them back in the UK because back then the hospitals here were horrendous.
You're like, there's no way.
Your kids here, go home, like, don't do it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen. So I went back to the UK, and then when they were 3-4 months old, then I came back. So they were pretty much raised here for most of their lives. So they love it. It is their home. They don't know any different. And they have school here, and that's where they really connect and have a very normal childhood. And I keep them as unexposed to things as humanly possible.
Yes. Yeah. So you found GiveSendGo because you needed to fundraise. How did you find us? Like, how did, there's other options out there. What made you choose GiveSendGo? How did you even find us or hear about us?
I was talking to an amazing friend of mine who helped produce and direct She Has a Name. I don't know if you've seen that film.
Oh, yes.
It's an anti-trafficking film based in Thailand and Cambodia. And so I did some work with her, and I told her, oh my goodness, my passport is expiring. They won't renew my visa. And because of COVID, I've never had this issue before. Cambodia is very relaxed. And so I was like, they've just changed everything. So I have to go home, and I genuinely just don't have the money for it. And I was like, okay, like, what are your thoughts? What shall I do? And I'm just running. She's a close friend, so I'm just running it by her and just asking her advice. And she was like, oh, have you heard of GiveSendGo? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay, go on. I'm going to send you a link. Go on their website. They're amazing. And you can just read through everything, and then just see what you think. And I did. I read through it, and I even looked at people's campaigns, and I could see that people were genuinely giving and genuinely supporting. And for me, that was super encouraging. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And how did I not know about this before? I feel like it's a really amazing platform for people to connect and to pray for people, but also for a place for people to give. And so, I was inspired by some of the stories on there too.
There are some incredible, it's exciting to actually look through some days when you're feeling discouraged and being like, wow, look at God still moving all over the place. Despite what I'm going through in my little pocket, you can see how much God is working throughout the world. And it's really encouraging.
GiveSendGo is the #1 free Christian crowdfunding site in the world. Yes, free. Other crowdfunding sites will charge you nasty, hidden fees, but not GiveSendGo. While our third-party processor does charge a small fee to givers upon donating, GiveSendGo's platform is free of fees because we believe you earn the money you raise. So the next time you're looking to raise money for a friend, or you've got a mission of your own, come to GiveSendGo.com, the #1 free Christian crowdfunding site in the world.
You started your campaign because you need to go back to the UK.
Yes.
To get visas or your passports done for you and the children?
Yeah, so me and my daughter, my son's okay. I renewed his a few years ago, but my daughter and I both have passports expiring next year. And there's a gap between when our visa expires and when we can legally renew our passports. So, and with the whole Brexit thing, the passport renewing situation is a little bit crazy over there at the moment. So I've had to actually book 3 months to make sure that we actually get our passports in time for returning and getting our visas renewed. So when we're in the UK, that will be our top priority, is getting our new passports and then submitting all the paperwork for a new visa.
Okay, a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part, But thankfully, I do have a good reputation here and working with government, and so they're just like, oh, it's no problem. Just get your new passport and get in touch. And so.
Oh, good. Well, that is really good. So I can see that you are trying to raise 5,000, not dollars. Is it
Pounds?
Pounds. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
I still need to have a cup of coffee this morning. 5,000 pounds to to travel. Kellie's URL, if you're watching and you're like, hey, I want to help toward getting Kellie back to get her passports and visas taken care of and her daughter, you can go to GiveSendGo.com/G36KM, and that will be across the bottom of the video the whole time. And we all might not be able to go to a different country and step into the role that Kellie has, but we can support people who are. And that, that's what God talks about, us being the body, right? Like, we can't, if we all did the same thing, only one thing would be getting done. And so he gives us all the skills and the talents and the time and all of the different things. And we all have different. And so that we can step into where God has us. And so, I might not be able to get to Cambodia, but I can support you so that you can continue the work that you're doing and that your children and family are doing. It's just incredible. So you've also adopted a son, I see, from Cambodia. How long ago did you do that?
Well, the process has been since he came to our care at 2 days old.
Oh, wow.
So that took over 3 years to see that through fully. But just literally last week, we got the final official documents from the court. So it's very exciting.
Oh, that is
wonderful news. Yeah, it's wonderful news. And he wanted a donut picnic. And so that was what he got. He got a donut picnic, and we made a lot of fun of it. And it was a beautiful day. And he was being sold from a local place here that I can't mention, but he was being sold, and it was $250. And
that just sounds, I can't even fathom that being allowed, that a little child is being sold.
Yeah. And he was born at 7 months. He had HIV, pneumonia, other STDs, and he had a hole in his heart. And so he was just lying in the intensive care unit. And because no one was paying the hospital bills, he wasn't being, treated. And so I just got him brought to my house, and everyone told me he was going to die for a long time. No, he's going to die. And he almost did. He got resuscitated a few times, and he just kept opening his eyes and looking at me. And it's like, I'm going to live. I know I want to live. And the goodness of God was just all over it. And he got that special HIV treatment, so he's now clear of HIV. He had open heart surgery at 5 months old, and he's had multiple surgeries since then, and he is now just an incredible young man, fully healthy.
How old?
Fully spirited. He's almost 4.
Okay.
And so he is just incredible. So you wouldn't even know what that kid has been through. He's just a bundle of joy. So yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So again, if you want to help support Kellie and her family in getting her visa and her passports redone, you can go to GiveSendGo.com/G36KM. And there's also a pray now button where you can just let Kellie know you're praying for her. Maybe funds are tight this month but you want to just let her know, because we know that, we don't want to make light of the fact that prayer is actually what moves the hand of God. The Bible says, he bends down to listen to us. And so, that's even more important than any amount of money, because if God deems it so, it's going to be so, right? Like, it doesn't matter about the money. And so please lift Kellie up as you're watching this. Be praying for her family as they continue to do this work in Cambodia. Is this like a full-time job like that working in this ministry? Okay. All right. Is there any prayer requests besides the couple that I've mentioned? Is there anything else that we can be praying for you, obviously, so the funds come in and for your family and the health of your family and all of that? Is there anything else specifically that we can be praying for while you're in Cambodia serving?
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest things I ask people to pray for is just protection. Protection for my kids, and then just protection for ourselves as well. And as well, just as the borders are reopening and, tourists are coming back, and which also means that sex tourism will be on the rise again. And so it's just praying for a lot of protection and just for, God to just go before us and come behind us and keep us on our journey and on our path while we're here.
Well, we will be praying for you, Kellie. Thank you so much for joining us today. I love hearing what God is doing. When we started GiveSendGo, it's been almost 8 years ago, my brother and I and a sister, we started GiveSendGo, and we were like, we need a platform, that people can raise money, but that we can also share hope with people. And so on GiveSendGo, you don't have to be a Christian or be doing mission work, but that was pretty much our start, was saying, let's give missionaries and people that are out there serving a place to fundraise easily and quickly, while also reaching into people's situations to share hope with people. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing as well. You're like, I'm here, I'm taking care of physical needs of people, but I'm doing it so that I can share hope with them, because there's a hope bigger, than just rescuing someone out of sex trafficking. That would be great, but letting them experience the hope that Jesus gives us is the life-changing part of it, right? And so we thank you for stepping up and being obedient. We will be praying for you and your children and your family and just all of this. And we know that, God's got you. So thank you for coming on GiveSendGo. Again, if you want to support Kellie, you can go to GiveSendGo.com/G36KM. Again, the link is down at the bottom for you to go to. We ask if you have extra money that you can support this ministry, do that. If you can pray, be praying. We want to hear stories, Kellie, from you. Please keep in touch. We love to hear what God is doing, and anything, that you go, wow, that was incredible what God just did. Please shoot us an email. We would love to keep in touch.
Amazing. I will do that for sure. Absolutely. God is always doing the most crazy, amazing miracles. And I always remember one of my pastors, he used to say, the miracle is not in the miracle. The miracle is in the transformation that takes place because Jesus did the miracle. And,
wow.
And that's what's really wonderful to watch here, is the miracle that takes place because they find Jesus and they find freedom and they find his justice and his love. And that's the most beautiful thing that I take away from it. So whenever I get one of those amazing stories, I will send it through for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you again for coming on. And thanks everybody who's watching our GiveSendGo Spotlight, or maybe you're listening to our podcast. Stay tuned. There's lots more coming up on the GiveSendGo Spotlight, because there are thousands of amazing people like Kellie that are serving God and doing exactly what he's asking them to do. And so thank you for watching GiveSendGo Spotlight. We'll see you next time.
I hope you've enjoyed listening to Shine Brightly and hearing about the wonderful things God is doing through people all around the world. Do you or someone you know have a GiveSendGo campaign you'd like featured in one of our Spotlight episodes? If the answer is yes, fill out the form linked in this episode's description, or head on over to our Gab or Facebook pages and fill out the form pinned at the top of the page. Once your form is submitted, your campaign will be considered for this amazing opportunity to be interviewed by one of the co-founders of GiveSendGo to discuss and spread the word about your campaign. Keep shining brightly.